Hi, and welcome back to OverHERD at Career Education. My name is Denny, and I have two awesome people joining me in the studio today. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
You can go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Kristen Sims. I work in the Office of Career Education.
And I'm Nerissa Napier. I'm a freshman student in my first semester here at Marshall University.
All right, thank you both so much for joining me today. Of course, I've been working with Kristen for quite a bit this year. Kristen's a valued colleague, very bright person. I've been enjoying working with her. And then Nerissa, it's really funny how I found Nerissa for this podcast. I was just doing a fairly run-of-the-mill student meeting with her, and she impressed me so much with her answers. I said, hey, please be on my podcast. And here we sit. I didn't even know she'd say yes. I'm like, I hope she doesn't think I'm a weirdo or a creep or something like that. But we're sitting here, we're chatting, and I'm excited, and I think it's going to be a great discussion. And one of the things that most impressed me about Nerissa is just how seriously she's taking school, how proactive she seems to be. And that's the whole reason I reached out to her, because a lot of the attitudes and things like that she has, I was like, other students need to hear this, and not just hear it, but I think hear it from another student, because we preach it until we're blue in the face, don't we, Kristen?
That's right. We do.
And not that we shouldn't keep doing that necessarily, but
it's easier to hear it from someone who actually understands. Someone like you can sit here and say, oh, well, you need to be more organized, and you need to start thinking about your future, and you're like, I don't even have time to think about what I'm going to have for lunch when I'm sitting in this lecture. How am I supposed to think about my future? And it's one of those things you just have to work on and realize that, this lecture is not the only thing you're doing. Yes, that's what you're doing today, but what are you doing next week? What are you doing next month? What are you doing next year, next 5 years? And you just have to keep those things in your perspective.
Oh, she came in hot. She's laying it down.
She did. And you see, this is why I said be on my podcast. If you thought I was making it up, now you have proof.
And I didn't find that weird. I found it an honor, honestly. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
I can definitely see why. She jumped right into the very first question even.
She did. So, yeah, that first question. And like I said, I was talking to everyone here before we started. I have a few questions that I want to use to guide our discussion, but at the same time, I like some free-form conversation.
Yeah.
So I'll just go ahead and jump into question number one then. So Nerissa, and you touched on this quite a bit, but if you want to expound on it maybe a little bit further, why do you think it's so important to stay organized as a student?
Well, as a student, first off, we know, come on, let's admit it, guys, college students normally are a mess. We have so much going on, and it's just so much worse with this whole COVID thing, because used to you could separate school from home and you could leave school at school, but now school is your home. There is no separation.
It's like a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. So you feel like it's shoved in your face all the time. And at some point, you just get so used to, sitting in your bed and doing these lectures that you start to lose your sense of organization. And then a weekend, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a mess. Yes. I have no idea what due dates I have coming up. Yep. I have no idea what I'm doing. And you're like, I guess I'm just going to muddle through it an hour at a time. But really, I think it's important to stay organized, because, we are a mess, but it can just, we don't necessarily have the time to organize our whole life and make a color-coded schedule. No college student can do that, and if you can, I commend you. But any ounce of organization you can have is just so helpful, and I find it helpful. I do lists, and they're so simple. You can do it on a napkin if that's all you have, or you can get as fancy as ordering a customized notebook. If that's what makes you happy looking at that, do that. But just make a list, and I'll expand on this later. It will save you a ton of stress and just freaking out over everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. Really enjoyed hearing that.
Organization does keep you sane, or at least keeps the illusion of of sanity, that you know what you're doing.
You can look like you're doing great, but really you're still losing it inside. But everyone's thinking, "Oh my gosh, she has got this."
I think like it sounds like what you're describing was maybe like setting small goals. So even like a small goal, like get out of the bed, like look at you, like
exactly.
Go to the kitchen,
get out of the
get
bed,
some cereal,
fix breakfast, brush your hair, put some clothes on. Don't go to your lecture in your pajamas.
Say it again.
And it sounds so easy, just roll over, turn on your laptop. But the best thing you can do, and even, I'm sure most people have like their good, like I wear these out clothes, and then they have like their, I'm just sitting at the house clothes. Don't even just put on your sit at the house clothes. Some days get up and put on your I'm going out clothes. If you want, do a full face of makeup, and it just makes you feel so much better because you're like, hey, I'm over here killing it. What are you doing? Like, I'm good.
And that took us right into our second question of what methods do you use? So I love how she's talking about these different ways that she cheers herself up and keeps herself focused and motivated. And the notebook, I'm a notebook person, so I really enjoyed that advice. That does help. And if you find some nice pens to write with, like myself, you get excited to write your notes down or write your schedule down because you want to use your fancy pen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exciting. It's the little things. It's 2020. We need a break.
Yeah, anything you can get that makes you happy is that's key. And like she said, what methods do you use? I've had people preach at me, you need to get a planner. You need to get a planner. You need to write everything down in a planner. That's all fine and well. But when I sit down with a planner, if I'm going to sit down and write in it, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to put some stickers. I'm going to make it colorful. I'm going to make it look good. I'm not just going to slop it down there. And then that takes an hour. And then I'm like, that was an hour of my study time. Like, I can't do that. So, if you're a planner person, that's great. Use your planner because, obviously people have recommended it to me. But I make a list. And when I'm saying, a list, it can be your elementary general list. Just have a column for your check marks, have a column for your due dates, and have a large column for your assignments. And, of course, it's generally kind of great to put your, due dates in order, but that's not always possible because your professor may assign something, that's due in 2 days, and another professor assigned it earlier, so you've already gotten some due dates written down. And just write it down and try to keep it in order. And when you look at your dates, you'll say, oh, I need to work on this first. And, or you can be like, well, this isn't going to take that long, so I'll go ahead and knock that out of the way. And it's so much easier.
Yeah,
and just kind of keeps you, when you look at it, you don't feel so overwhelmed. And I'm not even talking just, this homework's due. So, I have a speech that I have to write by Tuesday, and this speech has several parts, the proposal, the outline, the presentation media, the delivery. I write all those down because when you check that box off, it may seem simple, but the mentality of checking that box off, it feels like getting a trophy. You feel like all this effort and time you're putting into stuff and the stress you're putting yourself through, it feels like it's making it worth it, It's actually worth your time, and you're doing it. You're doing it really well, and you're succeeding, and it kind of drives you to keep going. You don't want to give up.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's funny. Yeah, you were knocking all this stuff out of the park. A lot of things I had written down here. And now one question I want to ask you is, I think we've got a lot of the day to day, like the how and the what's, but I want to kind of venture in and talk a little bit about the why. So you do seem very focused on education. You seem very just focused and very engaged with what you're doing. So what's the big purpose? What keeps you going? Let me ask you that.
Well, I will tell a story, a short little story, and it may sound kind of harsh, but it's just really, I feel like other people need to hear it. So I started my first biology class. I technically had biology in high school, but all we did was watch movies. It was really bad. So, I went into it and was like, I'll just take my notes, make my flashcards. I've got this. I can memorize stuff. I'm good at this. Oh my gosh. It is a whole different world. And the high school did not prepare me at all for this. And, that's what everybody says.
It is tough.
Yeah. And so my mom explained it to me, I've reached this brick wall. And on the other side of this brick wall is my goal, my dreams, everything I want to do. Do I say, oh, well, there's a wall here, let me turn around and go the other direction? Or do I fight to get over that wall and reach my dreams and do what I love and just succeed in life? And I'm not saying if you turn around and go the other direction that you won't succeed in life. But the thing is, and she told me this, anything you go to do, you're going to encounter a brick wall when you go to do it. Everything has that wall. Everything has something you have to learn that you may not know how to do already. So when you're surrounded by these brick walls, are you just going to say, well, I can't do this, and stay at home and curl in a corner? Or are you going to say, I want to actually be out in the world and live my life and see all the great things this world has to offer and get over that wall? And I sat there and I thought, well, that was harsh. And she made me cry. And I thought, I just wanted some support. Like, come on. And then the next day I thought, she's right. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to let this this one biology class, yes, I have to take 10 more.
Yep.
But if I can get my foot in the door with this one biology class, they will all just fall in line like dominoes. So no, I'm not going to let this one simple biology class stand in my way of reaching my dreams, because in the end, it's not worth it. There are safety nets set up for a reason. You pursue your dreams. You persevere, and if you stumble, it's okay. But the important thing is to keep going.
I love it. Wow, that's wow. And Kristen can tell you, am I speechless very often?
No.
I've always got a wisecrack or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, she's like, something. I heard that inflection in your voice, but no, I'm just like, wow. How can you even improve upon the conversation at this point? And yeah, I just love what you shared, and it's just such good, I think, just such good advice. And again, I just kind of reiterate, this is why I wanted you here, because how many students across campus do you think need to hear that pep talk?
A lot. And, I don't necessarily, I'm looking at you, Denny, but, I'm not talking to you. You are an adult, and you have made it. You have a job, and I'm sure you're in your career that you wanted to be in. If you're not, and this is a stepping stone, then good for you. I recommend that you continue on your path, but you've made it through college. Now, if you need to hear my advice, that's fine. But I know that there are college students out there who are sitting in their dorm or their bedroom and thinking, I really don't want to change my major because, this is my dream. It's been my dream for a long time, but what if I really just can't do this? And the important part is you can do it. It's not going to be easy, and I hate to tell you that, but you can do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, yeah, my questions, I'm just like Denny, like I can't pull it together, but I guess my question, I mean, how do you handle stress? Like, how do you handle this? Like, if you get pushback, like with your story about if you come up to the wall and it's too tall, will you curl up in the corner? Yes, that's where I visualize myself. I will at least be napping to regroup before I figure out what I'm doing, because that's just my coping mechanism for failure. So how do you handle the stress? What makes you bounce back so fast and, and want to attack your future so heartily,
Yeah, and I mean,
Fill me in. Give us the secret.
I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I'm not stressed. Like, college is perfect. It's easy. I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. I go out on the town each night. No, nobody has time to go out on the town in college.
I heard that laugh, Denny.
You do not have time for that. So, there is a lot of stress, and nobody's perfect. You will cry. You will nap. And you will be angry. And just dealing with the stress is kind of, you have to step back and see the bigger picture. So, like this speech. I could be freaking out over this speech. I have so much to do just before Tuesday. And then I have to get up in front of the whole class and speak about it. Whoa, that's a lot. But then I step back and think, this is a big assignment. It started with the proposal and then the outline, and even before that, I had to come up with a topic that my teacher approved of, a topic that he thought there was enough material on.
Right.
Had to actually find good sources. So I've already made it there. I've already done over half of the work. Why give up now? And you kind of step back and say, well, yeah, I guess that was a big assignment, but you're already over halfway done with it, so it's really not that big anymore. And you kind of see the bigger picture of all these things that are worrying you. They're a lot smaller than you think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you kind of step back and say, well, how can this really affect me? If you're worrying about that parking space, you go to turn into your lot and there's not a space and you're going to class. How can that affect me? Well, let me tell you, there are plenty of parking spaces in Huntington that are meters, and they would be glad to have your quarters, and they would be very glad to have your money. Okay? And you just say, well, this class is 1 hour and 50 minutes. Okay? That's 2 hours. Go ahead and round it up. Throw your 2 quarters in there and get your butt to class. Because you don't have time to be worrying about this stuff.
She said, period. The end.
Yeah, you don't.
That's all.
And the deal is, you just gotta... I know everyone says, take it with a grain of salt. Let it roll off your back. But once again, are you gonna let the stress stop you from achieving your goal? No. You're gonna lay in the bed, take a 30-minute nap. You're gonna get up and you're gonna conquer the world. That's it.
Well,
period.
That's what I'm doing.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Conquering the world.
Yeah.
I will not to divert things too much, but I did have a slight think back to, you might not remember, you probably will, Pinky in the Brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what we're going to do tonight,
familiar.
Brain?
Mm-hmm.
You should YouTube it if you've not seen it.
Okay.
2 little lab rats, they want to take over the world. No, I had that image. But no, I love what you said. Yeah, just... Sometimes I think you have to take that break and you just have a few minutes, but get back on your horse and
you just can't
take
put too much thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't. Okay, stress is a goose. Okay, and it's a goose at a lake, and there's this sign that says, "Don't feed the geese."
Mm-hmm.
But of course, human instinct. You're like, oh, I want to feed the geese. Like, it's going to be cool. No, don't. There's a sign for a reason, and you don't need to feed the geese, because if you don't feed the geese, they leave you alone. And it's just like stress.
You also can't step in the poop. I'm just saying.
The
smell alone, I'm staying away.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that story also.
I love it. Love it. So... I want to hear a little bit more about your after college plans, because just sitting here listening to you talk, I think you're very focused. You have a very healthy perspective, and I think you'll either meet or probably exceed your wildest dreams with where you're going in your career, with where you think you're going now. And even if something happens and you change trajectory, I think no matter what, you're going to be a success at whatever you do, just because of the attitude you have now, even if you end up doing nothing like what you're planning on doing now. And sometimes that happens, but no matter what, and I see you being a success, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you plan to do after college.
Thank you. So people would say that my dreams are big, but I'm gonna go for it. And if they are too big, that's fine. I'll just reach for another dream. It's not a big deal. But I actually want to stay here at Marshall in the forensic science program until I come out with my doctorate. So right now I'm going for my bachelor's in forensic chemistry, and then I'm just going to go right into their graduate program, get my master's, keep going, get my doctorate, and hopefully I'm going to make the connections around here that I need to possibly get an internship. If I don't get an internship, that's fine. I'll just keep working, towards my goals. But eventually my end goal is to work for the FBI in one of their crime labs. And of course, I'm not going to be picky. Any location would be great because, that's just my dream job. But end of the road, I would love to see myself in Quantico, Virginia at their main FBI crime lab, so close to D.C. Just, it's a great area. So, that's where I'm going. I'm going to be around for a while. So...
and that's I love how specific and how much thought you put into this. Now, as a side note, not again, I don't want to just shamelessly. I want to plug our stuff, but I don't want to shamelessly plug our stuff, and to the point where it's an abrupt conversation shift.
Oh, you're good.
But we do have the FBI come here to our career events and things like that. So I do just want to point out to students, if you have if you have goals like that I think are wonderful goals, like the FBI. It's like, how the heck do I ever connect with the FBI? Well, they're here at our career fairs many times a year, so we actually can help do what we can to try to facilitate at least those initial meetings in between students and organizations, such as the FBI, and we have a number of, I think, other fairly high-profile organizations that come to these things. And not only do they come to these things once, but what I found too is we have a lot of the same people year after year that attend these. So making connections now, and then kind of, I compare it to a campfire. Like we're talking about analogies and goose poop and all that. Let's talk about a campfire.
That's right.
Yes, if you do nothing to a campfire, what happens?
It just goes out.
It goes out.
It dies.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep your campfire going, well, you put wood on it, you poke it with a big metal stick, you do all that stuff. And same
keep
is true
adding to it.
Exactly.
I don't camp, but I'll trust y'all on this.
You don't know what you're missing out on. It's great.
It's really good.
I will go, because like Nerissa said, you can't limit yourself to things.
Yeah.
So I'm getting motivated after this.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll, achieve some things, which brings me to our final question, which is how would you motivate other students and perhaps adults to reach their goals and try new things and not be afraid of failing, and like, if procrastination is your problem, how would you suggest that they get around that? Asking for a friend.
Definitely a procrastinator here, but not in the normal sense of I'll just put it on the back burner until I forget about it. No, like, it's in the back of my mind this whole time, and I'm like, oh, it's fine, like, I have plenty of time to do that. And then it's like 2 days before, and I'm like, no, you don't have plenty of time. And I start like freaking out, and I have to take a step back and be like, once again, it's not a big deal. Just sit down and just get through it. Don't crap it out, like, make it good work. But you can sit down and focus on one thing at a time. And that's something really big, is take something one day at a time. If you're a procrastinator, I find it really helpful to get a calendar. You can do like a dry erase board of some sort and write daily, what classes you have, what you're doing, where you're going, what you have due, what quizzes you have. That way, when you wake up in the morning, you're starting your day saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what I have to do, and this is what I can do. And I'm not saying turn around and say, oh, well, this, and this are due in a week, and I can have so much more fun and go outside, like out on the town and party, if I get everything due this week done. Yes, that's true. But I know people who will get up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at 3 a.m. just to try to get ahead. And that is not healthy. Your body needs sleep. And I'm no expert. So, like, if that system is working for you, you just keep doing it if that's what you like. Don't
as much as it pains her.
Don't let me try to change you. But if you hear one thing, do not subject yourself to 3 hours of sleep. Do not. Get your sleep, because when you sleep, you're going to learn better, you're going to study better, you're going to take more things in, and overall, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel better about checking that box off and being like, yeah, I still have 6 other things to do, but you know what? I just got 2 done. So bring on the other 6. You're going to feel better and have a better attitude. So for procrastination, I think the biggest thing is just keep it in your face. Keep your due dates in your face. That way, yeah, you're throwing them on the back burner, but you know truly how long you have, because you're seeing it every day. You're seeing, I only have 4 days left. And slowly, it'll switch the gears in your mind to be like, I should actually probably go ahead and work on that, because maybe it would make it easier on me if I went ahead and worked on it. That's not a bad idea, okay? So to motivate someone, I think you just truly have to find what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. Because I'm sorry, there's the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Mm-hmm.
I've added my own part. Yeah, you can drown it, but then it'll just be dead, okay? You can try to get someone to do something, and if it's not what they want to do, they're just going to muddle through it, and they're going to hate every minute of it. So if you're pursuing, like, a career that you absolutely hate, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why did I put myself in this position? And I think that's truly the key, is to be motivated, really, it has to be something you love. You can't form motivation, you can't build it, you can't teach it. Because it truly comes from the heart. You have to want to do something. You have to want to make a change.
Wow. Wow. I was going to say, what are the odds of us, we need to find a job for her in our office. Kristen, what do you say? We need to, maybe even while you're in school, a couple hours a week, I think we need to pull some strings and get you hired, because I don't know if my pep talks are that good.
I was going to say, at least just, I need your number or something, just so I can call you on Monday mornings. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
It's Monday again.
It's Monday.
Again for a friend, right?
Right, for a friend, yes. Strictly.
So, this has been just a wonderful discussion. I've really been enjoying this. Like I said, I do probably in a couple minutes here want to wind down. We try to try to keep it not to be just insanely long, but I don't want to cut it short either, because it's been such a good discussion. So, do you have any parting thoughts or comments or motivational quips or anything like that you can bestow upon us, or any closing thoughts?
Just kind of, first of all, everyone always says the first step to fixing a problem is admitting you have one. And it's so annoying to hear. It's a cliche. It's been said so many times that it has lost its meaning, and you don't really hear it. You just get angry about it. So, yeah, it sucks to be told that, but I think there is some weight in there. If you're a college student and you're sitting in the corner crying, trust me, I've been there. It's fine. You can come out of the corner. You have a lot of stuff left. You're good, okay? Admit that you're not okay. Because the deal is, when you're not okay and all the building blocks of you are sitting in the floor scattered out, here's the great thing about building blocks. You can pick them up and you can put them back together. You can put them back together differently than they were before. You can remold them. You can put certain colors on the bottom just to change it up, change who you are. But never at any point can you not put those building blocks back together. So that's the important part, is, yeah, you're sitting in a corner crying and you're thinking, there's no way I can get this degree. Like, this is it. I just need to drop out and save myself the money now, because that's a lot of money to invest to get to my third year and say, nope, I can't do this. Because the important part is, you can. If the passion's not there, yeah, it may cost a little more, but switch your major. Talk to your advisor. Reach out to somebody. The whole reason I'm on this podcast is because I just asked Denny if there's any way that the FBI comes to career fairs. That was my question, and it all led to this. So you're sitting in that corner and you're looking at the walls and you're like, well, this is it. Guess I'm going to be flipping burgers for the rest of my life. No, it's not. Stand up, pick yourself up, go wipe your face off, wash it if you want. That feels pretty good. Put some different clothes on. Put some makeup on. If you're a girl or a boy and you want to put some makeup on, you go right ahead, because you'll look in the mirror and be like, dude, I look good. I may not feel good, but I look good.
Yep. Fake it till you make it sometimes.
Exactly. And mentality is all that, just pick yourself up and realize that, if you were born with the weakness to fall, you were born with the strength to rise. And you can do it. So you need to rise up, put yourself back together again. You can build yourself any way you'd like, put those building blocks together, and then stand up like a tower.
Wow. Again, how many times have I ever been? Like I said, have I ever been speechless 3 times in my life? It's
Not that I know of.
Probably not.
You're gonna have to call your mom just to double check, but I think no.
Yeah. She'd say no. He's been smarting off since he could talk. So, she really probably would. Wow, it's just this is just incredible. I want to thank you again, Nerissa, so much for joining me here today.
Yeah.
Like I said, even when it popped into my mind that day, I was like, man, I hope it's not just like creepy to be like, hey, please be on my podcast. But I know just in during the course of a fairly run-of-the-mill student appointment, I'm like, I just saw something. I'm like, there's just something here that people need to hear this. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm just blown away. This has been wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you guys for having me. I have these thoughts, when I'm sitting at home at
Mm-hmm.
you complete an assignment and you're like, oh wow, like I'm doing it. I'm doing the whole college thing. Like, wow. I didn't think I'd get this far. And then you're like, yeah, you knew you'd get this far. Like, you knew you could do it. So, your head can just kind of go back and forth. And I think it's such an honor that I get to kind of expel this. And I just really hope that somebody hears it and someone's like, whoa, like, yeah, like I can do this. Yep. So I'm not saying by any means that I am perfect, but, I try my best, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think your drive, I think your perspective on a lot of things, that's what's going to cause you to go far, because I think there's a lot of little incidental things in life, things that kind of somewhat make a difference or not. But yeah. I think a lot of it boils down to, I think just attitude, vision. What's the wind in your sails, so to say, and you've got some pretty big sails there. I think you're going to go places. So,
thank you.
Lots of wind.
Lots of wind. People say that about me too, but I think they mean something different. I think it goes back to the smarting off thing. But anyway. Well, anyway, I want to thank everyone again for joining us on OverHERD at Career Education. Again, OverHERD at Career Education is a new twice-monthly outreach from the Office of Career Education. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing from Nerissa as much as I have, and I got the impression Kristen did too. We've been sitting here exchanging glances, like with our masks. Yep. We can't see the dropped jaws, but I can just tell from the eye contact. We're like, dang.
Yep, and the eyebrows have been going up.
So
in a good way.
So we've enjoyed, and I'll tell you, this has got to be one of the best parts of my job too, is just finding these students that are, because we've got some amazing students roaming around this campus, and that's one thing that's really been hitting me this school year. I think this school year it's easy to look at the negative, to look at the stressful and everything that's not ideal, but I've just been loving working with these students this semester, and it's been hitting me probably harder than it has in a good way any other semester. Like I said, I'm going on finishing up year 5 of working here, so
And I mean, of course, COVID has obviously made things different. I only come into campus one day a week, and I was looking forward to being on Marshall every day. But, take that, and turn it into something positive. Tuesdays are the day I have to be on campus. And at first I was like, ugh, I really have to go one day. But now that's my Chick-fil-A day. And that gives me something to look forward to.
There it is.
Every day.
I like it.
Yep. So find the motivation in the small stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's so good. I love it. So I want to thank everyone again for joining us, and I hope to see you back here next time.